Hey guys, welcome back. DeFi, degens, drip, and farm for poverty. I'm your host, Drip Coach, dropping knowledge bombs on all Forex Shark related projects. And in today's video, got a request from the community. Someone left in my comments, can you cover about the single staking asset pools, upside potential and downside risk? So shout out to this person asking this question, and I'd be happy to do so. I think it's in reference to the videos I made about this information previously on the rehypothecation and Stargate and stuff like that. So I made this rehypothecation risk video and the Stargate risk and stuff like that. So be definitely happy to dive into the single asset pools. So for those of you not familiar, these are liquidity pools where you put in a single asset and then you're paid out the reward token, and in this case the Animal Farm dog token. So these, we'll start with the pros and cons. Start with the pros, of course. The single asset staking is the least risky option in DeFi. And what I mean by that is the whole reason people move over into DeFi coming from CeFi and TradFi is to basically earn some sort of interest off of your asset, right? So in traditional finance, you have your money in your account and then you have a savings and or checking or money market account, whatever. Basically, the bank is supposed to give you some sort of incentive for putting your money in there. When you move over into crypto, you first start with CeFi, most people, centralized finance, where you're coming through Coinbase or Binance. And on those platforms, you can also stake your capital. For example, on Binance, you have a couple of ways to earn. You can do their simple earn, which is putting up your assets. You can do the DeFi staking, liquidity farming, basically things like that. But the problem is whenever you are leaving your funds on an exchange, as we've seen, you don't really know what's going on behind the scenes. You signed an agreement and they're not supposed to be using your funds for other things. They're supposed to also keep a 1-to-1 of your funds, but we don't know what happens. So basically, by lending it out here or leaving it here, you could lose it in totality. So the next option is moving over into DeFi. And this is why I say it's the least risky, because you're actually using a contract to do this. And that comes with other cons, but the contract itself ensures that your assets are there and only you can withdraw them. And again, we'll talk about cons with exploits, stuff like that coming up, but it is the least risky way in regards to maintaining ownership of your funds and getting access to typically much higher yield payouts. So the payouts in here are extremely low, as you see, and this is just one location versus what you get paid out in single asset pools like on the Animal Farm. Just a quick message, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss another video. This helps bring brand awareness to the channel as well as all Forex Shark related projects. Thank you. Also, another pro is there's no impermanent loss. Remember, I covered in my previous video about impermanent loss, basically the value of the tokens changing. Watch that video to get more details. I'm not going to cover that here, but there is no impermanent loss because in a single asset, you only have the asset of the token, right? So that's trading up and down based on traditional market value, buy and sell orders. So there's no loss between pairing it with another token. So in the Animal Farm, this is definitely one of the better spots to earn yield if you are bullish on these particular assets, because that means you are trying to acquire them and you are going to hold them for some period of time because you are speculating that they will go up in the future. So this would be a great place with the least amount of risk compared to what comes with farm tokens. But moving into the cons, because there are definitely some cons, you have the opportunity cost for speculative trading that you lose. And what I mean by that is that if you put your tokens in here, let's just say it's ETH, and when you put it in, which is another con, you have a 4-hour lockup, right, to withdraw. So if you put it in there and something happens to the price of ETH where you want to get access to it immediately, you have 4 hours. And we've seen tokens get dumped or skyrocket, based off of some news that you may want to have access to. So putting them in a contract, 4 hours is not that long, but putting them into a contract where you don't have immediate access to them like you would in your wallet just means it's a con in that regard, because you lose that opportunity cost to make a trade immediately. There's also the fees for getting in and out of the pool. So whenever you put something in here, you're hit with a 3% deposit fee. And if 4 hours later you want to take it out, you're now hit with another 3% deposit fee. So that is definitely a con in regards to comparing it to the farms, because it is 1% higher than the farms. Farms are 2% and pools are 3%. Next up, you have the standard DeFi contract and blockchain risk. And what do I mean by that? That's just the existing risks that happen within DeFi on contracts. So we've seen exploits and hacks that can happen to contracts. And recently, there has been another exploit happening with the Anchor protocol. So Anchor allows for multi-chain liquidity and bridging, basically. And basically someone found an exploit and minted over 20 trillion BNB. So that's a BNB token that's supposed to be pegged or equivalent to BNB on their chain so that it can be used as liquidity to swap in and out. And they were able to mint 20 trillion and then basically kind of bounce it around through Tornado Cash, Uniswap, and other bridges and get out about 5 million worth of USDC equivalent. So chain, I'm sorry, what do you call these? Bridges and chains and things of that nature are constantly getting hacked. I won't say constantly, but enough to kind of raise alarm. So that is a con in relation to the contracts. And this brings us to the last con, and that is that there are 3 solutions that Forex is looking at regarding rehypothecation for our single assets. So anytime you add another contract into the existing contracts or another location to stake, you obviously increase the risk, because that's just another vulnerability potentially, or a chain in the link. Now, granted, Forex has a great track record on securing customer funds and assets, but yeah, it does come with another risk. So that's why I'm putting it here as a con. And as of right now, the options are Seller, Uniswap, and Stargate. Now, I've only actually used Uniswap. And I don't know of any history or articles about exploits or attacks on any of these bridges, but that would be something we just gotta trust Forex to pick the right one. So I'm sure whoever he does pick, it will be properly vetted. I think Stargate is actually probably the largest in regards to liquidity. Wow, it's come down quite a bit. I don't actually know. I haven't looked. But anyway, putting that as a con, because yeah, once that is loaned out or rehypothecated, meaning it's actually staked there versus being on the front end in the farm, the same way I mentioned in the previous video of how the actual farms are done with PancakeSwap, then you're now at risk of any kind of potential hack or exploit with that actual bridge or liquidity provider, or however they actually do that in their contract. So I will not be diving into these. Maybe when Forex picks one of them to be the one we're going to utilize, but right now it'd just be way too much random speculation with no real value added. So just, you guys can look into it if you want. Seller, and Uniswap, and Stargate. So anyway, that wraps up the pros and cons. So there is no such thing as a no risk or zero risk option when it comes to trying to earn some sort of yield on your crypto. Even just holding the least risky would be just holding in your wallet, and you still have the risk of your actual wallet being compromised or whatever if you're not using proper security measures and all that. So just coming into crypto in general is risky. CeFi, as to me, has proven it's way more risky than DeFi, but DeFi does have these exploits, and that is something you have to be aware of that could happen to your assets if some kind of exploit takes place on a bridge or a swap or something like that. So that wraps that up. So I think all in all, what he's doing and what our options are, farms and pools are kind of about the same in regards to, for me, if you break it down in regards to pros and cons. Pools, less risk, but come with a greater tax, and farms, a little bit higher risk and less tax. So it's really about that simple to me. And there's not as many to choose from regarding the different actual pools. So anyway, you guys know the drill. Hope that provided some value as always. If it did, smash that HBO special, help a brother out. Like, comment, subscribe down below. And until next time, live daily and achieve your impossible. See ya.